We are picking up a strange psionic signal. It is Zerg in origin, but not part of the swarm.
I know you seek to topple Minsk. His alien soldiers, the hybrid, are your greatest threat. If you wish to stop them, meet me at these coordinates.
If the Dominion is controlling hybrid, our invasion of Korhal will fail. This lab must be destroyed. My queen, the infested Terran who contacted you waits over there. He claims to know you.
Who are you?
You do not recognize me? I am Alexis Stokov. We were enemies once.
Well, we both seem to be Zerg now.
Indeed, and we share a common goal, the destruction of this facility. It is here that Minsk breeds the hybrid, combining Protoss and Zerg DNA to create monstrous creatures of immense power.
Then we'll destroy this facility together. This isn't just about getting rid of the hybrid threat, is it? Why are you helping me?
They held me here for many years. I survived experiments, torture, and worse. Now I will see it burn. You were the only one I could think of with the power and will to aid me.
Infested. Held captive. Experimented on and hunted. We have some things in common. Contact the brood mothers. Tell them to bring their Leviathans to this system.
Should they unleash their broods upon the station?
No. Zagara and I will lead our broods in the assault.
So the other broods will simply hold in orbit.
I want them nearby. After we destroy this station, we're going to Korhal. This is the source of Minsk's hybrid? Just getting inside is going to be an achievement.
The infested Terran. I have never seen his like. He is powerful, but closed off. Where is he from?
Stukov is from Earth. A few years ago, they sent an invading force here. I remember it. I destroyed them.
As it should be.
I thought Stukov was killed. I heard reports that he'd been resurrected, that he'd been infested, then cured. If he's been a prisoner here all these years, anything is possible.
The main entrance of the Skyger platform is heavily defended. We must dislodge this Dominion force before we can assault the lab itself. This lift is the only entrance into the laboratories. It is also the second most heavily defended location in Dominion space.
So they've got a lot of Marines. We'll use those numbers against them. Bring in my infestors. We're going to implant virophages at these garrisons. Once they've infested the Terrans inside, I'll use them to secure the landing bay. We'll clear it before the Dominion can even react.
Hello and welcome back to Heart of the Swarm.
Use fungal growth on those Marines. They won't escape its grasp.
It's true, they will not escape.
Move to that garrison, quickly.
Because fungal growth is OP. So this is the mission that introduces us to the glory that is the Infestor. Back during Wings of Liberty, they used to dominate the multiplayer scene, thus leading to angry non-players calling the game Lings of Liberty.
The infestors can now move on. The virophage will infest the surrounding buildings.
I want control of that Banshee.
However, these days they are rather more balanced due to the fact that you have to aim their fungal growth rather than it just be an instant cast thing like it was in WoW. So, I think the point of this mission is to build up a nice little army of infestors, go around taking control of all the Terran things, because there's loads of powerful Terran units in this mission. There's loads of tanks, there's loads of Thors, just loads of really strong things. So I think what you're supposed to do is take control of all of them and win with a mostly Terran army.
An infestor is out of energy. Infestors can consume Zerg units, including the infested Terrans, to regain energy.
But
Use parasitic domination on the Dominion's heavy ordnance. Turn their weapons against them.
But instead, what I do is just make loads and loads of roaches. So, you know, obviously this beginning prologue bit of the mission before I get a base, it's really trying to tell me something. It's telling me that this is how it wants me to make progress. Moving up with infestors, taking Terran units. And while I did do that once for an achievement, once that achievement was done, just roaches. There's no reason to. I mean, sure, roaches die a lot to tanks and Thors, so it wasn't the most cost-efficient thing.
Kill every last one of these Dominion bastards.
It is definitely not tactically sound to make roaches. This is the mission where I actually think I should have been using swarm hosts, given that it's a mission entirely about breaking defences, and that's what swarm hosts do. But because just nothing gives me more glee than seeing roachlings, I did just make loads of roaches, which you'll see does not go that well for me, but I still win, so there's that.
The infestors have implanted all 3 virophages on this section of the platform.
It's time for the Infested to do their part.
Okay. Get to it, Infested. Let's destroy this factory. And whatever that was. Now it's time for base building.
The Zerg are infesting the facility. Release the gas.
God damn it. The gas.
My queen, the gas is destroying the infested Terrans.
We can always infest more. They're only killing themselves.
Chemical warfare. Efficient delivery mechanism. Gas unstable. Once Dominion reserves run out, we'll require time to synthesize more.
And that's when we resume our attack. Until then, we'll hold here and defend the virophages.
That pesky gas. So yes, this is sort of like the mission with the Protoss and the roaches. Yes, the roaches. It's sort of like that, but slightly more challenging because it's not like the enemy ever just freezes. You just get some reinforcements every now and then in the form of infested Terrans, which are weak and slow anyway.
Yes.
Now, these 3 virophages we have are not the only virophages we'll get. As we uncover more of the map, there'll be more virophages to take, but the sort of twin gameplay there is that when the gas is up, any virophage could be attacked by Terrans, so we have to defend it. And it's pretty beefy, the attacks. I can't just make spine crawls and spore crawls and expect that to help, because sometimes they'll bring in siege tanks and stuff like that. It can get a bit messy. But the thing that rolls it right back around to being really easy again is that if you ever lose a virophage, you need only park an infestor over it to make another one pretty quickly.
Kill the infestor. It's the only mercy we can afford them.
And like a long-established
Kill them before they
virophage
destroy the virophage.
isn't any stronger than a newly created virophage, so basically if they destroy a virophage, you just don't have access to that swarm of infested Terrans for about 20 seconds. It's not that punishing.
Make your peace.
There you go, I was completely out of position for the first attack. Luckily the first attacks are a bit weedy, so it's fine. That was clever. I'd have brought my infestors over and got myself some medevacs because they will heal Zerg units. But I'm not clever and infestors require effort and I just want to make roaches. So that's just what I'm going to do. You're starting to see now why I've only ever barely scraped into platinum and generally never get out of gold. It's because when there's any unit in the game that is potentially incredibly powerful but requires some sort of finesse in order to control, I'm just not interested. Mutalisks are about what I can handle. And that's only because they can fly, and you can generally get out of bad situations with those just by clicking a button. So...
The Dominion's gas supply has run out. They will need time to recharge.
But if there is something I'm good at, it's building bases
The infested.
and getting
Kill anyone in
upgrades.
our way. There are more garrisons nearby. Infest them, and our swarm will grow.
Oh, it looks like I did bring my infestors there to take that science vessel, which as far as I know doesn't actually do a damn thing to help us Zerg. But I got it anyway. Oh, and there is still a flame turret next to that virophage, so I'm going to have to deal with that. Dealt with. Lovely. So yeah. Even though I have barely any roaches yet, the fact that
is now under the swarm's control.
Kerrigan is as powerful as she is means that I can start attacking a bit earlier on in these missions, which is nice. Once she gets her ultimate, my oh my. I mean, I've said before, there are 3 ultimates, one of them is boring, but the boring one is the best one. The boring one basically just gives you a pretty decently sized Zerg army for nothing.
We are the sword of the Dominion.
Are you really the sword of the Dominion? Could you consider yourself the sword of the Dominion?
These facilities to conduct research on live Zerg.
If you're primarily stationed to defend things?
Here, you can infest them and steal biomass held within.
Surely you're the shield of the Dominion, and there we go, that ever-present biomass.
Yes.
If we get creep tumors over to these science facility things, then we get biomass. No one quite knows what biomass is, but we're getting it, and in abundance. So as you can see, I'm trying to set up good static defences, but what I will quickly discover is that A, it's not that effective, because there are many things that can outrange it, etc, etc, and there's just pretty big attacks on your biophages. But B, it's going to be unsustainably expensive to shove static defense around all the biophages I'm going to get. So I give this up pretty quickly. I'm just now trying to make a push for this base, because the quicker I can get 2 bases, the better. It's probably already taken me way too long to secure this natural, but I am too cautious a player. I admit it. It is my great fault. You know, my problem in StarCraft 2, when I play StarCraft 2 multiplayer, which I enjoy, but find it difficult to do every single day just because of the sheer amount of brain power that's required to sit down and play that, not like most games where you can, you know, like you've got your WoW, which you barely have to think about ever, except when you're raiding on pretty hard difficulties.
Your creep is infesting the first facility now.
You've got MOBAs, where all you need to do is just blame your teammates. And Hearthstone, you just plonk down cards and see what happens. You know, that's my multiplayer game sorted. But in StarCraft 2, you've got to click things really quickly, you've got to think about what you're going to do. It's great, but it's also exhausting. So for that reason, I tend not to play it as often as I'd like to, really. But to get back to my original point, which I forgot what it is, I am way too cautious. I will build up my base, I will occasionally, you know, I'll try and scout, try and see, you know, do they have a third, but to do any overlord scouting into the base, oh, that's a bit scary, I don't know if I can do that. To be aggressive from the get-go, to try and dictate the pace of the game, I can't do that. So to be honest, most of my games, especially when I am good enough to creep into the Platinum League, is me trying to build up a base as quickly and efficiently as possible, and then Banshees kill me. That's sort of how things go for me. Ideally, I'd want to be an aggressive Zerg. I would love to be someone who's an aggressive player at this game. But every time I try to go for early aggressive strategies, I just get beaten back and then killed. So, I just need to get good. I do.
Speak.
Maybe once I'm done with this YouTube campaign, I will put a bit more effort into getting good. No doubt that the fact that Legacy of the Void is coming out is going to cause my StarCraft 2 lust to jump into overdrive, and then I'll make another effort at getting good. I can only hope. So yeah, basically, I'm not doing much yet. Presumably I'll attack again when the gas comes, but for now it's just bases, 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 because bases win races.
The Terrans have run out of gas.
Ah, that pesky gas.
What is it this time?
Just not good enough. So there you go. I could probably even have 3 sets of banelings if I was more attentive. But, you know, 12 free banelings. We're not going to argue. So yeah, that Thor, things like the Thors and the tanks and these Diamondbacks, these would be ideal for me to infest. And I'll admit, okay, as I said before, there are achievements that I can never be able to do once I've already done them. Even though they make the games more fun, I did say that. But yes, there is an achievement for this one. I can't remember if it's a hidden one. I don't think it is, actually. I think it's just one of the normal ones that nevertheless requires different gameplay. And the normal achievement is to kill Terran units, kill 60 Terran units with Terran-controlled units. So of course the way to do that is to infest loads of units by, you know, making more than just your 4 infestors and infesting basically everything you see. And it's really powerful. It makes this mission so easy. But when I don't have an achievement telling me to do it, I just default to roaches, even though they're far and away nowhere near as powerful. So I have only myself to blame for how many of my roaches are dying right now.
Our conquest continues.
As I said before and I'll say again, I just love the roachlings. I mean, look at them go. They're just great. So I'm tentatively bringing my infested over to see if I might be able to grab something. I've got my eye on a battle cruiser, and I've got the battle cruiser. So there you go. I'm not completely worthless. I should just be doing this a lot more, the thing is. I should be infesting a lot more things, but I'm just not. And I'm getting my infestors close to a siege tank, and that's 1 infested down. And that is why I probably default to roaches, because roaches, when a roach dies, you're sort of okay with it. They're quite cheap. But when an infestor dies, you feel pain in your heart.
Onto the platform.
So there you go, it's gas time again, so now it's time to defend, and hopefully spread my creep as best I can.
Alright, let's clear it out, boys.
I return.
Oh, Kerrigan died at some point, fair enough. Well, I like how I've positioned my army in a place where it's going to take an equally very long time to get to any virophage.
Get that bridge extended and wipe out that hive. I want these Zerg off my platform.
That's just good tactics. And have you spotted that virophage that I haven't even taken yet? Despite the fact that there's creep like all around it. I've only just spotted that. I can't believe I missed that for so long. That was infested Terrans that I could have been using during that last assault. Who knows what difference they'd have made. So yeah, you can see that my spine crawlers are holding for now. Once they start bringing the siege tanks in,
Let's make it like it never even happened.
I'm just going to shut that whole thing down. You know, I have more drones ready to protect my newly created virophage. No medevacs or ships getting in here. No siree. What even are these? Oh, I'm just re-establishing my spine wall there. Very oh. There you go. That one's fine as well. So for now, I'm doing fine, but, you know, I could have achieved this exact same thing with that big old army that I've got standing around doing nothing. I mean, the thing is, static defenses are great in missions where you want to be getting out and doing things, but in a mission like this, where your army will be standing around doing nothing for a good few minutes, I could have just used them. And there you go, now we go. My spine crawlers are just not good enough because they brought in siege tanks, brought in everything. So I've had to bring in my army. But, as they also said, losing that virophage is basically no big deal. But it was at this point that I realised that static defence just isn't going to get it done. So I decided, roaches, more roaches. Just make more hives so I can make more roaches. And also re-establish that static defense for no good reason, even though I've just determined that it doesn't work. I think just having a few spine crawlers there would bug me. I've got to go all or nothing. That's what I'm all about.
The gas has run out, my queen. Our infested have resumed the attack.
And again, where are all these infested Terran coming from? Do they just like... Do the Terrans store their dead underground? I mean, I know we store our dead underground, but it's in designated zones, commonly known as graveyards. We don't just store them anywhere and everywhere. You know, another Thor I could have taken if I was cleverer. But at this point, I'm getting a reasonably good chunk of roaches, so I'm feeling pretty confident. Of course, the reason I'm feeling so confident is that I consistently forget that all it takes is like 2 siege tanks to make all of my roaches die, as I think you just saw in the corner of the screen there. I think I've now just realised it. I've completely run out of roaches. So my genius plan is to try and infest those 2 siege tanks with my infestors. Well, guess what? My infestors get shot as well. So now I've got no infestors. So, you know, this is why I chose not to save Scum. It's so you could see just what a truly bad player of this game I really am. Because I am terrible. I have just lost my entire army at a time when it should be ripe for attack. You know, I've got 5 roaches on the screen. Now 4 by the looks of things. 5 roaches, 1 Hydralisk. That's what I've got, down from pretty much the entire army that you saw a second ago. So, I'm not efficient. I should be using infestors, I should be using swarm hosts, but... In fact, no, swarm hosts would have just been perfect, but... I am not perfect. I mean, oh my gosh, the fact that I've upgraded the flying locusts means that none of those siege tanks could have killed my locusts, which means that swarm hosts would have been incredible. And look, there's a siege tank on the high ground killing all my roaches. All I can do is run away. Can you imagine what a few flying locusts would have done? Ah, feel embarrassed that I didn't think. And that's my plan. I'm not going to go for swarm hosts. I'm going to go for mutalisks, despite the fact that the map is also crawling with Thors, which are like dedicated mutalisk killers. I am a genius, and you will see. It doesn't work well for me. I make like 10 mutalisks. It's in itself a hefty investment of 1,000 minerals and 1,000 gas, not to mention whatever upgrades I got for them, given that I built 2 spires. And they all just die in like 2 seconds. I'm like, right, never making any of those again. So, to summarise, 2 spires, that's 400 minerals, 400 gas. 2 sets of upgrades, let's call that 350 minerals, 350 gas, that's 750 each now. So 1,750 of each resource I have just wasted on 10 mutalisks that are going to go in, do nothing, and then die. This is why I am stuck in Gold League. I'm seeing myself in a mirror right now, and I'm not quite sure about what I see. But on the plus side, I've got quite a few roaches again, so I'm feeling confident. I don't know why I'm feeling confident, just because I eternally never learn about the uselessness of roaches. There you go. My mutalisks, my grand game-saving plan, that I wasn't even clever enough to bind to a different key, despite the fact that they're going to need to do very different things to my ground army. I don't know. I need to make some real changes to how I play this game. Because even though I'm going to win this, and it's going to be pretty easy, that's only because this campaign is way too easy. It's not because I'm good. Let there be no illusions. I am making so many mistakes in this campaign right now. I think I'm literally playing this mission exactly the wrong way. The entire point is to be cost effective. Get infestors, infest Terran units. Get swarm hosts, have locusts just sort of battering against the Terran buildings and tanks with impunity, because locusts are free. But instead, I get these slow, low-range, bumbling, quite durable, but not when being pelted with a shitload of siege tank fire units that I'm hemorrhaging money. And the sad thing is,
The Dominion stopped venting gas. It will take them some time to synthesize more.
the sad thing is that despite this being such a terrible tactic, this is the one I was decided on.
What is it this time?
Like before I even started doing this campaign for YouTube. Like I had a vague memory. Of every mission. I was like, right, this one, roaches. don't know. I was just completely adamant that roaches are the way, and they're just not.
The swarm isn't at the end.
You're doing well. The Dominion is losing control of the platform.
But there you go. Stukov says I'm doing well. Is his name Stukov? I can't remember. I think it's Stukov. For those of you who don't know his character, by the way, he was in StarCraft 1 Brood War, the expansion to StarCraft 1. He was from the United Earth Defense or something? UED. I just know it's UED and the first two letters are United Earth. So he's from Earth. He's not from where the Terrans are from. The Terrans are from the Caprulu sector. But they're not from there. They were just sort of banished there. Basically, Terrans are like space Australians. Because at some time in Earth's history, they just carted away loads of Earth's criminals into space to see if they could colonize. That was how they tested the colonization waters. Of course, Terrans did quite well. And then once they heard rumblings about all this Zerg and Protoss, whatnot, the big powers of Earth came over to sort of kill all the Zerg, kill all the Protoss, get things back under control. But Kerrigan had other ideas, and she kicked their asses because she's great. And so, like in the very final cutscene, Stukov, who was like a main UED character, shot himself. Like, he was escaping on his battle cruiser. He realised that, you know, he'd face hell if he went back to Earth because he's totally failed his mission. So he puts on a nice bit of classical music on a gramophone and then shoots himself in the face with a gun. And now in StarCraft 2 he's infested for no adequately explained reason. We're just sort of... we accept that because it's Blizzard, and sometimes in Blizzard characters just come back to life and there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to roll with the punches, and we do. We're used to it.
Let's get cooking.
But like, there's no explanation at all. Like,
The garrison is infested. Let's move.
a bit later on, she might have already said it. I can't remember when the conversations happened. But Kerrigan says something like, "I heard rumors that he'd been resurrected and then infested." It's like, really? Well, we never heard of these rumors. We never heard these rumors at all. As far as we knew, he was dead, and now he's just here. With no explanation beyond that. Ooh, I heard the rumor that, and it's just, it's weird. As I say, we're fine with it. It looks kind of painful, that weird burning cheek thing. I don't know why he's all burning, because like other infested Terrans aren't like that. But it looks cool, so I guess that's just what we'll go with.
There. All three facilities are infested. The biomass within is yours.
And what you might notice is that I've just run out of minerals. See, cost-efficient roaches, of which I now have quite a lot, so well done to me. But cost-efficient roaches...
You have lost a virophage. If you bring an infestor to the garrison, it will replant the virophage.
Lovely wastage of my drones there. Send them into attack and die. But no, cost-efficient roaches aren't quite so cost-efficient.
Let's make it like it never even happened.
When like one siege tank kills them all over and over. So at this point I have run out of money, which means that with these few roaches I've got left, it is do or die. Luckily, I'm gonna do,
Make your peace.
because I do have a lot of
Our
roaches.
infestation spreads to another garrison.
Now granted, they could easily have a lot of siege tanks, they would kill me. If this was multiplayer, I'm sure this roach army would completely melt, but because this is single player,
It will replant the virophage.
and they're determined to only have 2 or 3 siege tanks at a time, I think I'm basically okay.
The gas has run out, my queen. Our infested have resumed the attack.
Okay, let's see what the Terrans have got
Another
cooking.
garrison falls to our infestation.
Don't be too excited, Kerrigan. We already had that garrison once, but
Make
then I
your
lost it.
peace.
There you go. That thing behind the planetary fortress is the thing we need to get rid of. So let's go. We are ready to end this once and for all. So many roaches. You know what? I take back everything I said about roaches being a terrible strategy. Obviously roaches are the most amazing unit you could ever make for this mission, because look at them. They're so numerous. It's just so satisfying to see so much stuff on your screen. There you go, mission done.
My queen, the swarm is ready to enter the laboratory at your command.
Good. It's time we found out what's waiting inside.
The power that's inside. Hybrid Zerg? Okay, so there you go. Yeah, Master of Puppets. So it's not even a hidden achievement, it's one of the easier ones. But it's pretty powerful, and I should have just been using it. But for whatever reason, me and roaches will be together forever. So thank you for watching this video. I know it was a bit of a long one. I could have cleared this mission a lot faster if I weren't terrible at it. I mean, I'm not terrible at it, I just deliberately made the very wrong decision to go roaches.
Brood Mother Noctul has contacted us. She speaks for the remaining Brood Mothers, not under your control. They feel your power, and they wish to return to the swarm.
Brood Mothers, hear me. I am sending you the location of our enemies across the sector. Destroy them. Burn their strongholds in my name. Then, you shall be one with the swarm.
We shall do this, my queen.
With their return, the swarm will be whole. You are very near to your victory. You have unselected abilities, my queen. You can review them within your chamber.
Skyger Station, the Dominion's secret weapons lab. This is the heart of Mengsk's hybrid breeding program.
Tell me about the hybrid.
Zerg and Protoss DNA combined. Something that should not be possible.
And these creatures will follow Mengsk's orders?
He believes they will. I am not so sure.
This place is very far out of the way, but it's guarded as if it were Korhal itself.
The Terrans must greatly prize that which lies within.
But technology at this scale, this is beyond Mengsk's engineers.
Perhaps they have help from something greater than themselves.
If there are any answers, they are inside.
This place of metal and stone. Why?
You're not impressed? The Primal Zerg couldn't build something like this.
I do not need a wall. I will evolve armor. I do not need a weapon. I will evolve claws.
The toolmakers might create something stronger than your armor and claws.
Their tools stay the same. I collect. I change.
My queen, you radiate with power. Your ultimate abilities have awakened.